Hello and welcome to another transformative episode of the 10 Dimensions of Wellness. As you know, I am your host, Cammie Red, and today we have a very good episode for anyone that's looking to move from stress to serenity. We're going to be joined by Sharon Holand Gelfand, wellness expert, creator of the G.U.T method, and one of our VIP coaches for this year's 10 Dimensions of Wellness Summit. Now, Sharon's journey began with her son's diagnosis of Crohn's disease, which inspired her to dive deep into the world of wellness. From earning a master's in nutrition to becoming a certified health and wellness coach, Sharon has made it her mission to guide people from a place of stress and anxiety to calm and confidence. In this episode, she'll share her insights on the mind-body connection, the power of tuning our bodies, and her unique G.U.T, which is G.U.T, G.U.T method for taking practical steps towards healthier and inner peace. So if you're ready to honor your body and start building calm from the inside out, stay tuned for an insightful conversation with Sharon Holand Gelfand. Hello, Sharon.
Hello, Cammie. So nice to see you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for being a part of the 10 Dimensions of Wellness Summit as well.
My pleasure.
We're going to jump right in. Can you tell us about the journey that led you to create the G.U.T method and dive into the wellness industry?
Oh boy, I sure can. So as you said in the introduction, my son was diagnosed with Crohn's. And back then I had no clue about health and nutrition. I used to be a banker. I had a business with my former husband, and everything was black and white. 1 + 1 always equals 2. So to me, I just listened to the experts when it came to what I should eat and what I should stay away from. And when my son was diagnosed, we were sitting in the doctor's office, and something inside of me said, ask about food, because she said, he's going to be put on a medication. He'll be fine. Don't worry about it. I said, do I have to change anything he's eating? Because you're talking about his intestines and his gut. She said, no, the medication will take care of it. But that just didn't sit right with me. It didn't sit well. So on my way home, I just started mulling in my head, there's got to be something going on here. Something's not right. And my son, in the meantime, was devastated, thinking he's got this disease, he's going to die. And I was just like, I've got to figure this out. So I was on Dr. Google, as many people will do, spending hours and hours, and I was more confused than ever. And I just remember turning to my sister, who's a doctor, and saying to her, I'm going to grad school. I need to take classes. I need to understand what nutrition has to do with this, because I know there's a connection. And that just basically led me down that rabbit hole of really understanding the role, not just of foods, but of our mindset, of stress, everything. And what I discovered as I was helping my son, who wasn't able to stay up, he was so tired, he was not doing his homework. He went from being like this sickly child to being co-star of the track team in high school. And now, he's 29 years old and he is on one medication, but really mostly living his best life. But what I found interesting for me was that I've been compartmentalizing my own health conditions. I thought I was healthy. Nobody said I wasn't. But I had IBS, I was getting migraines, I was constantly getting strep, my body was falling apart, and I was on all these different medications from all these doctors telling me, you're fine. It's just you're getting older. It's the stress, it's the work, it's raising a family. And that just was Pandora's box to I got to get to the root of this. And I healed my body, got rid of all of my medications. And people started asking me, what are you doing? You seem different. And I just started helping people. And before I knew it, a business was born. I had no intention of starting a business. The business found me.
I love that. And that's usually when we're stepping into our purpose, what we find. It just finds you, not you going out looking for it or doing anything extra. It's just something that comes along. Now, the mind-body connection became important to you on your journey. How has tuning into your own body shaped the way you guide clients in their wellness journey?
Great question. So we're so conditioned. We're taught to eat this, don't eat that, buy the labels, eat the advertisements, right? On these packages. I was part of that. Oh, it's sugar free, it's fat free, so it's got to be better for me. And through my learning and discovery, I realized like I was out external, right? I was looking externally for answers. And when I found the time, when I actually sat and tuned in and listened to my body and became aware and connected, I started to realize all of my symptoms were my body was talking to me, right? Our body has symptoms, and these symptoms are telling us something. It's like the dashboard on your car tells you what you need to fix on the car. Our body tells us the same thing, but nobody gave us a manual. And so when I started connecting the dots and sharing that with others, and it just like I naturally created the gut method, because it's like the gut and the brain are so connected that for me it was like, oh my God, this makes so much sense.
Okay. Now, in your own life, what has been the most surprising benefit you've experienced from adopting a healthier lifestyle?
Oh, a lot of things. Oh my goodness. I don't think there's like one thing, right? I think the biggest thing that I've gotten from the biggest connection was being present. Like just instead of rushing and being outside of myself of what to do, what to expect, how, all of that stuff, was being present and really tuning in and really just like asking myself, how am I feeling? Where am I feeling this in my body? What is this telling me? And so I became more calm. And the more calm I became, it was like this ripple effect of my energy just like emanating outwards and calming those around me. So that was probably the biggest thing of realizing like, I don't have to be like this all the time.
Yeah, I love that. Now, you said that your gift is bringing calm into people's lives. How has that disability affected your relationships with your family, friends, and the clients you work with?
Mm. You know, I have you ever noticed, Kemi, when you're talking to people that people before you even finish, they interrupt and they're talking already because they're formulating a response in their mind that they're not really listening.
Hmm.
So by having that calm and pausing and taking that breath and creating that space for a real conversation of like, I'm listening to you and I'm going to absorb what you're saying and reflect back or ask questions to understand better. By doing that, especially starting with my family, it helped my kids be more calm. It helped them realize like, I have the space to say something without my mother reacting, without her judging, and like knowing that there was unconditional love there. And as I practice that and practice it more with my clients, just doing that and having the patience of being and pausing and slowing down allow them to do the same, because we start to mirror each other.
Hmm.
And then I would, invite them in their relationships at work, at home, with peers, with family, to practice the same of before you react, take a beat, just breathe.
I love
And
that. Yeah.
right, and allow yourself to just sit with, what am I feeling? What do I want to say that's going to help this conversation, not harm it?
I love that. I love that. I love it. Now, what are some practices that help you keep calm and focused, even on challenging days?
So that took a while because, yeah, when you're on the go, right? It's like if you're a hyperachiever, you're just like
Hmm.
just like do. It was, I'll be honest, it was a challenge because it's like going to the gym, and you have to create a new habit. So my phone became my best friend because I literally set my alarm for every hour on the hour to go off with a calming sound, not like a harsh, music. And many times at first I would like just hit and turn it off, and I'd be like, oh, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. But eventually it was like, oh, okay, I did it once today. Great. I would allow myself to feel the win and be happy about the small wins, right? Because we're always going for these big accomplishments. That daily we have to focus on the little wins. So we can, at the end of the day, be like, wow, I did it once today. I'm going to go for twice tomorrow. And then eventually 3 times. So I set my alarm and it goes off, and I still use it because, yeah, my days when they're crazy, I'm in it. So I need that reminder to just take that step back.
Okay, now I love the practice of setting the hourly alarm. I actually do that myself. I set an alarm where I tell myself, at the end of an hour, I need to take 10 minutes to pull away from the screen and just breathe. Even if it's just walking around my house to do small menial tasks, I need to take 10 minutes to just be in that moment. And if it's just sitting still, drinking a cup of tea, that's what I need to do. How has how has this helped you personally, and what advice would you give to someone who wants to stay more present?
Mm. So it's helped me personally because, like, as I said, and to your point also, Cami, if I'm taking a few minutes for myself, sometimes I just need to breathe. Sometimes I just need to step away from the computer like you and, have a cup of tea or a glass of water. Sometimes I need to move my body because I've been sitting for so long.
Mhm.
And I'll literally just like, even if it's just shaking it, just like move that energy. Sometimes I need to just remove myself and go outside for a walk. All of that just keeps bringing me present in my body, because then it's like it allows me to always be connected to myself, and always meaning, like at least once an hour I'm being connected to myself, reminding
Yeah.
myself that, oh, okay, this is my body. I'm feeling my body right now. And that then allows me to sit with, okay, what's really important? What do I really need to know for what I'm doing next? And then following that flow. I mean, if I have meetings, that's one thing. If I have my clients, obviously the same. So it's just allowed me that calm. And again, with my clients, I tell them, like, don't judge yourself. We have to have so much compassion and grace as we're going through this, because it's not going to be perfect. It's messy. It's so messy, and it's okay. It's
Mhm.
and it's okay to not be okay, because not every day is going to be great. So it's allowing ourselves to feel our feels, but
Yes.
asking ourselves, what am I feeling? Like when I ask somebody, what are you feeling? When they share a situation as I'm coaching them, tell me about, how that makes you feel. 9 out of 10 times, my newer clients will say, well, I think fill in the blank. And they'll
Yeah.
keep talking, right? And then I'll be like, okay, let's pause. I've heard you respond with, I think, and that's great. But how do you feel? And they don't know.
Yeah, that's a hard question for people. I get that. I actually asked that same question. I, like yourself, am a nutritionist as well. I have my degree in nutritional science also. So I deal with people who have a lot of emotional eating issues, and I talk to them about recognizing their feelings. And a lot of people struggle with the word how you feel. They struggle finding words to actually express their feelings.
Yes, absolutely. I give them a list so that they can like look through it.
Yeah.
With the basic ones. I'm happy, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm depressed, whatever, starting with the basic ones. Because then, it's like also society has taught us to not feel. It's taught us to like
Yes.
eat our feelings, right? Hence the food, right? Emotional
Yes.
eating. I do the same thing. And it's like we self sabotage, and it's all connected. So we have to work on the mindset. So we are afraid to even express how we're feeling. So the fact that somebody is asking, and then it's like, am I going to be judged? Is it
Yes.
going to, right? And it's like, and I always tell everybody, this is a no judgment zone, because it has nothing to do with me. It's allowing you to use your voice and to have a voice and to be seen and to be heard. That is just like, that feels safe.
Yes.
And that's what they want. They want to be safe. They want to feel safe.
I love it. I love it. I agree with you wholeheartedly. So let me ask you this. Rediscovering spirituality was a part of your journey. How has this connection influenced your personal growth and the way you approach wellness?
Yeah. So, it's interesting because spirituality is one of those funny words where people are like, oh, woo woo and everything. It's really not.
No.
It's really about our awareness and our consciousness and our connection to something that's greater than us. Some people get it through religion, whether, whatever God that they worship, that's a form of spirituality
Hmm.
through religion. And others, it's the universe. But it's always about that connecting to the higher self, something greater. And for me and for my kids and for my clients, it's taking that pause of we all have this desire. We have a desire for something.
Hmm.
And we all have a purpose. And we may not be living our purpose right now, but where we're at is exactly where we're supposed to be. So what can we learn? How can we just always be curious? And instead of the, well, what if it doesn't work? Or the, maybe, or I'll try, or we'll see, the wishy-washy words. It's like, what if the possibility is that I am,
Yes.
and it's happening, and I'm getting better and better every day if I just keep tuning in. And this to me is key. And you probably have experienced this also, but everybody talks to themselves, right? We have 60,000 a day, right? We talk to ourselves. And when people listening to this, or, it's like they think, well, I'm not talking to myself. You're talking to yourself, right?
You're talking to yourself. Your thoughts talk to you. What you think is what when you're talking to yourself, whether you say it out loud or not, you're literally telling yourself one thing or another. Yes.
Right, exactly. So if we're talking to ourselves and we actually take a moment to breathe and close our eyes and ask whatever question that we feel we want answered next, it's always that first answer. That's our highest self, right? That's the higher consciousness that's really speaking to us. What comes in afterwards are all the saboteurs that try to knock it down and tell us that we're crazy and we don't know what we're doing and we're not good enough.
We're not worth it.
We're
Yeah.
not worthy, right? Yeah, so I always tell people practice listening to the first response and write it down. And maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't, but notice a pattern. Do it on a regular basis because there will be a pattern.
Yes.
And that pattern is showing you something. And then it becomes having faith and having trust in believing that. And to me, that's all part of really what spirituality is, because that's the higher spirit, the higher self, the consciousness that's guiding us.
Okay. I love that. Now, let's switch lanes for a moment.
Sure.
Let's focus a little bit on business. You have pursued numerous certifications from nutrition to PQ coaching. How do these areas of expertise combine in your approach to client care?
Well, first I have to say I'm one of these hyperachievers that I'm still working on, because I always feel like I've got to get another degree. I've got to get another certification. This isn't enough. All right, I got a master's. No, but I got to get board certified. I have to get this certified. But at the end of the day, and trust me, and actually one more thing, like if I was younger, I probably would go for like a master's in psychology, but I'm I think I'm past all of that. But this is where my higher self was just like guiding me to, for myself first, because everything I do, it's for myself first and my family first, and for my clients that I'm working with, how can I better serve them? And then it becomes bigger for newer clients. And, because I started with nutrition of the body, physically, functionally, looking at our gut health, looking at, because I look at I do stool testing and stuff. And then it's like connected to the brain. It's like, what else can we really learn about our brain?
Yes.
What else can we learn about the stories that we're telling ourselves? So everything, and especially the positive intelligence that I love, there's a specific format to the programming that helps you with accountability, that helps you to understand in small chunks because it's about the small wins. And that's what I focus on with everybody. It's like, focus on the small wins. Don't focus, like, especially with dieting, don't just focus on like, oh, I need to lose 30 pounds because I want to weigh 130 pounds. Okay. So how many times have you gotten to that? I've gotten there so many times, but I've always gained it back, or I've gained back and forth. So what's kept you, do you think, from keeping it off? Because when I got there, I still felt fat because they were looking at the number. They were, right?
Right. They weren't looking at their health aspect. They weren't looking at what they're capable of doing now that they couldn't do before. They were simply focused on that number. So yeah, I
Exactly.
understand that.
Right. Right. Because you work with emotional eating, it's the same thing. So, with health and nutrition, it's getting to the root causes and helping you to find healing solutions. And then with the, the board certifications, the positive intelligence coaching, it's about the practice of the brain, right? It's about getting to the root of how am I self-sabotaging? How can I tell a better story? How can I get my hand off the hot stove? Because when we go down the rabbit hole, our hand is on the hot stove and our skin is burning off.
Yep.
So how long do you keep your hand on a hot stove? A few seconds. So it's like, how do I swap out those stories? And that is where the real work is, because when we can feel good in whatever that one area is, then we can show up in all areas as a better person. And that's really, at the end of the day, that's what leads to better relationships all around.
Yes. Now, you stated that you encourage your clients to celebrate every win, no matter how small. How does this shift in mindset impact their overall wellness journey?
It helps them to recognize that every day is not going to be perfect and that there are going to be setbacks, and that's okay. I always say it, and I wish I could take credit for this. I can't. I saw this in the movie, I think, Rudy. Every setback is a setup for a comeback.
Yep.
Right?
That is a very famous quote. And I think we all are walking around saying that right now.
Yes. And for me, when people have setbacks, I always invite them to consider that there's something more that still needs to be learned, a different way of looking at it. So the more that you can have grace for yourself and allow for a possibility that there's still something else to learn, and then ask yourself, how many more times do I need to learn this same lesson until I'm sick and tired of learning it?
Yes, I'm there with you. I understand that. Yes.
Right? And that's what helps people recognize these small wins as, oh my goodness, I'm not throwing out the baby with the bathwater. Like I need to acknowledge and write it down, because if we don't write it down, if we don't, or even end the day, it's like, write it down. It doesn't have to be a paragraph. Like, you don't have to journal. You just like jot down notes. But at the end of the day, if you can reflect back on 3 things that you're grateful for, one of them's, they're a win. It's a win.
You're right. You're absolutely right. You absolutely right. Not only do you end your day with it, but I like to tell my clients, you start your day with it as well.
Bookend.
Go ahead.
Right? No, I was going to say bookend the day, right? Morning and evening. If you bookend your day.
Yes. Morning and evening. You start your day with it because it gives you a positive outlook and aspect on how you're going to move forward in your day. And you end your day with it because it tells you that no matter what happened today, no matter what challenges I face today, I am still grateful for these things and I even tell my client, even if it's a struggle, be grateful just for the lesson that you learned.
Yes. I was at a networking event yesterday, an in-person networking event, and it was with a stylist and a few other people about how do we dress as we get older, as we age gracefully, because our bodies change. And there was one woman who came out on, after going through chemo for breast cancer, and she said that at first she was like, everything was like, my body's doing this and it's not doing that, and then she realized, like, oh my God, like, I'm alive.
Yep.
I'm alive. Like, thank God for being alive. And, it's like we have to forget, and we have to remember, like, I've got my limbs, I've got my hands, I've got my health, like whatever it is, I'm alive. Like,
we wake up every day, and every day you wake up, that is a blessing. That is something to be grateful for, because there are so many people that don't even make it to that point or to that moment. So I understand where she's coming from, because I myself am a breast cancer survivor.
Yeah.
So I get it. I had that mindset as well. Like everything that I do, it's because I feel like, the universe or God gave me a second chance or another chance to be out here to do things that not only improved my life, but to also help with others in their journey and what they're going through.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, the gut method, let's talk about that. How has this has been a breakthrough for your clients? Can you explain its main steps and how it empowers people to improve their wellness?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was working with a business coach to come up with like an acronym because I have this system, and I had been keeping track and writing things down. And one of my friends was like, "You need to write a book," which I did. And since I started with the gut, it was like, okay, what can we come up with that's GUT? That's a simple system. So my original incarnation of it, which my book is based on, was the G of like getting grounded, right? Getting connected. So G is like grounding, getting connected to your body, to what you're feeling, to your symptoms, right? Because I was saying before, like our car's the dashboard. Nobody gave us that manual. And that was, they were doing their testing. They were thinking about what they were eating and how what they were eating, how it was making them feel. And again, as we age and our bodies change, the foods that we ate when we were younger or the drinking that we did when we were younger, we quit do when we get older. It's like, darn, it's like, and then you realize like, I'm not even enjoying it anymore. So why am I doing it? So then the U is uncovering and understanding, like, so what does this mean? What is my body trying to tell me? And all of this is laid out in my book. And it's also, my book is book and workbook because it's meant to be like your Bible,
Yes.
I should have had it down, but it's like, it's up on my shelf. So I don't want to like stand up and get it, but
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. They can see it when they come to the 10 Dimensions of Wellness Summit. They
yeah.
can see it then.
Yeah. Anyway, and they can find it on Amazon. So
Yes.
it's like, it's uncovering everything. It's understanding. It's starting to connect all these dots. And then when you can do that, then you can tune in, trust, and take action. And here's what's interesting is everybody wants to do everything all at once. So we set ourselves up for failure. And there are some people who set themselves up for success because it's all or none. Great. But I always meet people where they're at. So I'll ask them, like, how fast, how slow do you want to go? Because you have to be able to maintain this and feel good about it. And most people want to do it one step at a time because, like any other habit, you want to practice and then you add something else and something else. So all of that together started first right with the food. And then it started with the mindset. I added in the mindset of, okay, so how am I tuning in? What am I thinking? How can I shift what I'm thinking so that it's more positive instead of why is this happening to me? What can I learn from it? Instead of, a fearful approach to trying to get a client, it's like, how can I just show up with love and know that the right people are going to find me because I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and that's
Right.
okay.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So realizing that it's so much more than what we're eating. And what people love the most is like, they don't count calories. They're like, oh, I don't have to count calories. I'm like, no. We weren't born to count calories. We were born to like enjoy but understand what we need. So that's how it all came about. And yeah, one thing led to another, and I created a program with it. And yeah, it's like the rest is history.
Now, understanding how stress and emotions affect the body is key in your approach. What are some simple ways people can become more aware of these effects in their daily lives?
It's, honestly, everything really comes back to just taking a beat. When you're feeling stress, it's like noticing my heart's beating or noticing I'm nervous or whatever it is that the person's noticing. And that's also why I love the phone and putting the reminder in, because even if we're fine when the alarm goes off, it gives us an opportunity to think, what happened in the last hour? Did I feel some stress? Because we know that, stress happens, you release cortisol, and you can eat as healthy as you want. That cortisol is running through your body. It messes your insulin, and that's it. You go haywire, your hormones are off. The biggest thing, especially for stress, is finding even 5 minutes. And I don't care what anybody says, you have 5 minutes. You have it. And if you don't have it, you're not prioritizing self-care.
Right.
Right? This is it, but you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first. All right. If you're on an airplane and those masks come down, what do they tell you?
Put it on yourself first. I use that same thing. I tell my clients that if you don't take care of yourself and you are spending so much time taking care of other people, that you don't see that you're killing yourself in some ways. I said same method you just said. If it's the same thing that they teach us when you're on the airplane, when they go over the safety rules, even with your children, you put the mask on yourself first before you put it on your child. So yes, I understand exactly what you're saying.
and we forget to do that on a regular basis. And really, our kids are suffering from it because we don't have the bandwidth. And kids are so attuned, like they are pure souls. They feel everything that we're feeling, even if we're not saying it. They feel our energy. So if we can take that 5 minutes, and if we have to remove ourselves from whatever the situation is, go to the bathroom, go to the room, taking deep breaths, like taking a breath in for 4, holding for 4, and I like to say, like, breathe in through the nose. I mean, there's so many breathing methods, but this specifically to calm the stress and the nerves and to get you out of the fight or flight and to rest and digest and, to help your central nervous system. It's like deep breath in for 4, hold for 4, and then breathe out slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. So it's and doing that again. And a lot of people, when they first started, they're like, I only could breathe out for a count of 4. It's like, that's okay. Your body's still in the fight or flight. Just do it again and again. Set your alarm for 3 minutes and just practice that. You will feel so different.
Okay. Now, for listeners feeling overwhelmed by stress and anxiety, I know you just gave us the box breathing technique. What are some other practices they can start today to move towards a more peaceful mindset?
Move your body, because energy gets stuck in the body. It's like, just put on a song. A song's like 3 or 4 minutes, and dance. Put on your favorite song. If you're on Zoom and you don't have to be talking and there's a break, close the thing, put your picture up and just dance. Put yourself on mute.
Yeah, put yourself on mute.
Have you ever been in a meeting and you hear somebody flushing a toilet?
Yes. But now you see all of the mistakes that happened during the pandemic online now. You see different people where, people will be talking to their kids and they'll be talking to their grandparents and all kinds of videos, because we forgot, we were getting used to looking at Zoom. Now it's like, hey, turn your picture on, mute your phone, and go from there. Yeah.
Exactly. But dancing, like we forget, like, we love to dance when we're kids, right? When we're younger, and who cares what you look like? It doesn't matter. Just move the energy and move it in ways that you don't ordinarily move it, because that also kind of disrupts the way that your body and your brain is wired, and it starts to rewire differently, right? So those are the simple things. And, I've said to people, start drawing, just like get an adult coloring book. Just start drawing.
Your mind and my mind are in sync, right?
Well, we knew, we were like, we were simpatico. We just knew.
So now you found that calm and confidence come from within. What's one thing you wish everyone knew about cultivating these qualities in their own lives?
That you deserve it, and stop giving your power away. I was talking to another woman yesterday who her boss was fired, and she's being now like interviewed with the new boss. She doesn't know if she's going to have a job, and she's lost her confidence because everything that's happened with the old boss. And it's just like, who are you, right? Like, remember who you are. Remember the gifts that you have. And no matter what situation you're in, own it, because you're the only one that can give your power away. Nobody can take it from you. So to get that confidence back, it's about taking that beat and reminding yourself of your strengths, of your greatness, of your values. Even if you may not have felt it recently or if in the last year, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it's like, damn, like some women, part of my language will be like, I used to, be able to have these conversations with the CEO and, well, oh my God, like I forgot that I was this powerful. Don't let other people take your power away. Practice it, practice it, practice it. It's important.
I love that. I love it. I'm telling you, when I say our minds are very much alike, your message is very similar to the message that I teach. I also deal with emotional wellness a little bit as well. And I talk to people about thriving after different forms of trauma.
Yeah.
And what you said is, and I always say that to my clients about, you allow people as much power as you give them in your head. And what happens is, yes, you've experienced a traumatic experience with a person or place or a thing, but you cannot allow anything to take your power from you. And once you regain it, it's very important that you remind yourself often of just how powerful you are. So,
Yes. And I want to add that, especially at work, right? Because at work, when somebody talks down to us or belittles us or does anything that makes us feel less than, we have to remember there's something going on in their life, right? It's not about us. And that's something we all have to learn it, but I remember like learning that and realizing like, oh my God, this has nothing to do with me. They're just taking it out on me because I triggered something in them.
You're absolutely right. You are absolutely right.
Right. And that's not my business. That's theirs. What I can do is have empathy and compassion and maybe rephrase it and say, it sounds like I might have triggered something. Do you want to share more about what you're thinking or feeling right now? And invite a conversation that could really just and then turn back 180 degrees. It's been having the willingness to do that.
Yes. Now let's switch back to the book one more time. Your book, you mentioned it offers a comprehensive guide. What are three key takeaways you hope readers will gain from it?
Oh, you have to be your own health advocate. It's like nobody knows you and your body better than yourself. That's the biggest takeaway. And don't get me wrong, I love doctors. My sister and brother-in-law are doctors. They save lives. At the end of the day, you have to feel good about all of that. So be your own health advocate. And the second takeaway is, if you're not, because I've had clients who've had their practitioner say it's all in your head, find another doctor, find another practitioner. You should not ever be spoken to that way. Like, I know plenty of amazing, we all do. There's, like I said, right, there's so many amazing practitioners. Find the one that listens to you and trust yourself. That's the third thing. The third thing is trust yourself. You really have the answers. They're here. You just have to find them again. They're hidden. You just got to find them. You got to turn the key. There you're just like, oh, let me look behind the curtain.
Yes. Okay, now this is my final question for you.
Mm-hmm.
If there's one piece of advice that you could give to listeners starting their wellness journey with the GUT method, what would it be? And while you're doing that, when you're finished, go ahead and tell our listeners where they can find you as well.
Okay. Oh, wow. Honestly, the biggest, I would say, and buy my book because it's really a great place to start. And even if not, listen to this recording and start paying attention. Start paying attention to, is this normal? Is my eczema normal? Is my stomach ache normal? Is my gas normal? Are my headaches normal? Don't normalize anything, okay? Things are common, but they're not normal. So allow yourself to really spend time being curious about yourself and what you believe, and being open to the possibility that there's something else to believe in. And if you're willing to shift it and create new beliefs, practicing all of that, patience and compassion and grace for yourself, it's going to take you such a long way, because then you'll feel excited. You'll feel like, oh my God, that's like, there's hope. The butterflies, like if you're feeling that excitement, you're on the right track. And if you're listening to this, you're here for a reason. Pay attention. And you can find my book on Amazon, The Gut Method. You can find more about me on Sharon Holand with 1L.com. All my social media is connected to there. From there, you can get on my email list. I do complimentary sessions, and I have a couple of opt-ins. So plenty on my website to learn more. Oh, you're muted.
Oh, there we go. Awesome, Sharon. Thank you so much for being a part of this, for being on this podcast. Also, thank you for being a part of the 10 Dimensions of Wellness. Now, you guys, she gave you where you can find her, but you can also find her and sign up to be a VIP ticket holder, and you can get not a one-on-one, but similar to a one-on-one with Sharon with the 10 Dimensions of Wellness. She'll be there to talk to you, present, and talk more about some of the things that she has going on and ways in which she can help you gain your confidence as well. So with that being said, thank you for joining us for another episode of the 10 Dimensions of Wellness podcast. A huge thank you again to Sharon Holand Gelfand for sharing her journey and the powerful gut method with us. Her approach to connecting with our bodies and building wellness from within reminds us of the peace and confidence we all can achieve. If you were inspired by Sharon's insight, don't miss her coaching sessions at the upcoming 10 Dimensions of Wellness Summit. Visit our website for all of the details and to learn more on how you can connect with Sharon and our other amazing VIP coaches as well. Thank you for listening. And if you found today's conversation to be helpful, share it with someone who could use a bit more calm and connection in their life. Don't forget to like, share, and follow this podcast. Also, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Until next time, remember, wellness starts with honoring yourself. Take care and stay well, you guys.